Quick question for everyone watching, if you had to narrow down to one person that led us to Jotunheim ultimately, who would you pick? Some may say Faye, and yes, she orchestrated and aided our journey, but ultimately Mimir was the most influential. We would literally never reach Jotunheim without him. Question 2, why did Thor confront us at the end of the game? Yeah, it was a cliffhanger to get us excited for Ragnarok, but what were his personal motives? If you think it's because we killed his brother Balder and his sons Magni and Modi, you're not wrong. It is definitely one of the big reasons. But think about what the Aesir have still not achieved. An entrance to Jotunheim. Have you ever wondered what is truly stopping Odin from entering Jotunheim? Actually, we're told exactly what, but it's a little confusing, so let me break it down for you. In order to travel to any realm through Tyr's travel room, there are 4 requirements. Firstly, and obviously, the tower must exist physically for the bridge to align to it. Secondly, the Bifrost light. Thirdly, a travel crystal to amplify the energy of the Bifrost light. And lastly, a specific travel rune to unlock that realm's bridge. Originally, Odin was unable to travel to Jotunheim as the tower was missing and he didn't know the travel rune. You could argue the travel crystal was missing then too, but he could have likely had this created by a dwarf, just like he had Thor's statue made. Let's even assume he couldn't have. He could have used Mimir's eyes, as Mimir's eyes served as an alternative to the travel crystal gifted by the Jotnar. Odin actually knew his eyes allowed him to travel elsewhere, hence why he removed one of his eyes. Crazily, Tyr has the same eyes as Mimir, and Tyr is theorized to be captured by the Aesir. I'm going to come back to Tyr later on in this video and how you could play into this. Oh, also, for those that may argue Odin doesn't have a Bifrost, this isn't true either. Again, this is also easily misinterpreted, so let me break it down. The light of Alfheim is required to realm travel. The Bifrost Freya gave us is simply a means to contain the light of Alfheim, called a Bifrost Lantern. By definition, the Bifrost equals the light of Alfheim. It's simply a bridge to other realms. I can prove this. Remember when we fought Balder and you almost aligned the bridge to Asgard and realm travelled? Yes, he could have physically pushed the bridge, but of course he didn't. If you pay close attention, the pedestal did not have a Bifrost Lantern. This proves the light can be stored in many ways. To further prove it, the Valkyries are officially mentioned as masters of the Bifrost light, yet they do not own a physical Bifrost like Kratos. Even Atreus and Freya's bow held the light of Alfheim in some way. My theory is the Aesir are able to somehow channel the light within and are masters just like the Valkyries, therefore they do not need a Bifrost Lantern. Now I know some may say, why does Freya not have the power? After all, she is the Valkyrie Queen, but don't forget, Odin took her warrior spirit away and therefore limiting her use of magic too. Now I know at this point I'm sure you know where I'm going with this theory. Odin sends Thor for revenge, but most importantly to retrieve Mimir to finally gain access to Jotunheim. It makes perfect sense. Jotunheim Tower, check. Mimir's eyes as an alternative to the travel crystal, check. Bifrost light, check. But hold on a second, we have a problem. Travel rune, not check. The only person who knows of the travel rune is Atreus, so unless Thor took both Mimir and Atreus, Odin wouldn't know the travel rune and therefore could not access Jotunheim. But hold on. Okay, are you guys ready to get your minds blown? What if I told you Odin already knows the travel rune and it's because of Kratos and Atreus? But how is that possible? Let me explain. You guys remember the original Jotunheim Tower where Mimir was bound? That also required the travel rune, specifically carving it into its base with a shard that we got from Thalmor's chisel? Well, even though we were not able to use that tower, Kratos and Atreus carved the travel rune there. Now I know you may immediately say, but Kratos destroyed the tower. That is true, but you're forgetting Odin. Odin was spying on us from the very beginning of the journey. It's even mentioned in the book, so you can guarantee he saw us carve the rune and knows of it. Now to talk about how Tyr could play into this, since he has the same eyes as Mimir and Odin likely has him locked up, why not just use his eyes and avoid the hassle of capturing Mimir? Well, I believe it is certainly a possibility, but do remember Tyr was respected and looked up by all. After all, Tyr's temple was an effort by all the races. If Tyr suddenly returned, everyone would likely aid him, including the World Serpent, which would not be pretty, hence why it makes more sense to risk capturing Mimir. So to sum up, Mimir or possibly Tyr is all that separates Odin from reaching Jotunheim. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you believe Odin will eventually reach Jotunheim? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing as it would help me a lot. Thank you all lately for the tremendous support, means a lot. Take care.